I am absolutely loving this. The very first thing that Donald Trump will do as president will be to screw over his own voters. And of course, I'm talking about the fact that he's moving his inauguration indoors. And there are so many Trump cultists who are just pissed off, upset, heartbroken. They can't believe that their orange cult leader would do this to them. And that's because for all their devotion to this man, their worship of this man, they don't understand this man at all. They don't understand that this man is a petty narcissist because they believe the fiction about Donald Trump that they have created in their own minds. That's why they never see this man for who he really is. That's why they're shocked that he would do something like this. But those of us who very clearly see who this man is, we're not surprised. It was, this cover story about it being about the weather, it's going to be too cold, we have to move it indoors. That was an obvious lie. As soon as I heard this yesterday, I did a video talking about this, how this was just a cover. It's a lie to hide the fact that they're moving it indoors for the very obvious reason that Donald Trump is afraid of the small crowd sizes. That's what this is about. There's no other reason for this at all. The weather's just just the cover. I mean, there have been colder inaugurations in the past. The last time it was moved indoors was 1985 with Ronald Reagan's second inaugural, but it was much colder on that day. It was in the single digits. It is not going to be anywhere near that cold on Monday. One of Barack Obama's inaugurations was about, similar temperatures. So this is all just BS. And, we should have anticipated something like this. I knew that the crowd size was going to be an issue for sure, because it should have been obvious that the crowd sizes would be small. Given the fact, number one, of who Donald Trump is, he is not a widely loved man, let's say that, given the fact that he is a criminal, convicted felon insurrectionist who is just a hate monger. But also given the fact that, he just barely won in the popular vote. It was one of the smallest popular vote victories in history. So he didn't come in with a resounding victory. And he is historically unpopular for an incoming president. I haven't seen the latest opinion polls on him. They're higher than they should be, but they're still historically low. Most presidents come in with a honeymoon period. There's this period, there's a lot of goodwill for the incoming president. There's no such thing for Donald Trump. And that would translate logically into a smaller than normal inaugural crowd. And we know, given the fact that this man is a petty narcissist with the world's most fragile ego, we know how obsessed he is about crowd sizes. He's been obsessing over crowd size since he entered politics. During this last campaign, he was constantly obsessing over his rally size, lying about the size of his rallies, lying about the size of Kamala Harris's rallies. I mean, he began his administration in 2017 lying about the size of his inaugural crowd. He spent literally weeks whining and lying about it because his inaugural crowd was so much smaller than Barack Obama's inaugural crowds. And he had his press secretary for weeks pushing out false information, lying about the size of Trump's crowds. So we know how sensitive he is to this. And given the fact that he's so unpopular, the crowds would be small. This is not unexpected that he would pull something like this. And so let me play. Oh, before I do, one other thing about this, because some people, not everyone's going to admit the obvious that this is about crowd size and has nothing to do with weather. His supporters will never admit that. So they have to make excuses, and their go-to excuse, and I've heard other people suggest, well, maybe it really is about this, and that is security. They're saying, oh, it must be about security. It's absolutely 100% not about security. Give me a break. They've known about this inauguration literally since the beginning of the country. You could look on a calendar and see when we would have inaugurations for presidents going into perpetuity and into the future. So we knew that the inauguration would be on this day. And between the Secret Service, the FBI, the Capitol Police, the National Guard, the military, we have no problem securing the area for Trump's inaugural. Security is not an issue. Because I know people, some people are saying, well, he's worried about someone else taking a shot at him. We would have no problem securing as much of the area around the Capitol as needed to keep the president safe. And you can always just friggin' put bulletproof glass all around him if he's that worried about it. You could put him in a bulletproof dome like the Pope Mobile. I mean, security is not an issue at all. This is about crowd size, period. Now let me get to these Trump cultists. Here is a video of a couple of Trump cultists who made their way to Washington, and they're very upset to find out that it was canceled. Watch this.
At Capitol One Arena for folks, but nobody's going to be outside now. What's your reaction to that?
So we're not going to get to see it in person then. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, I don't like it. I mean, we came all the way from Washington, from Oklahoma, and, now we're not going to get to see it. We might as well stay home and watch it on TV.
Cold ain't gonna hurt nobody. And we have farms, and we don't get to not feed the cows because it's cold.
It sucks. Let me rephrase that. It's not good.
Yeah, it's actually something that we've been looking forward to for historical purposes, and being a part of it, that's once in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
We made all the plans, all the arrangements to come up and be a part of this event, and all of a sudden to hear that it's being moved indoors,
We're prepared for the weather. It's not a problem.
It's kind of like a bummer.
It is, yeah. It's not.
So here we have one of these Trump cultists pointing out the obvious. He says, we're prepared for the weather. It's not a problem. Of course it's not a problem. It's a joke. It's about crowd size, period. And now take a look at this guy. Here is a tweet. I saw this one going around. Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm out about $5,000 for this. I was there, J6. It was a heartbreaking day. That's why I paid so much to come back for our redemption. So here we have a January 6th insurrectionist who is really pissed that his orange God King has let him down. He spent $5,000 to see his cult leader Messiah take the oath of office that he does not intend to keep. So he's really, really pissed off. And what's great about this is that I think this whole incident where he is screwing over his own supporters perfectly, I can't think of a better way, perfectly sets the stage for the rest of his presidency. Because these damn fools who voted for him are going to be screwed over worse than anyone else through his policies and everything else. He doesn't care about them at all. He never has. They like to say, he fights for us. Give me a freaking break. He doesn't care about them at all. If Donald Trump doesn't have to be out there in the cold, if this was about the cold, for nearly as long as his supporters, right? He could be as bundled up. He's just come out there for his inauguration. It's not about his comfort. And they don't care. They would stand naked, in the freezing cold, stand on broken glass, whatever, for hours on end to see their cult leader. They don't care the weather because it's going to be in the 20s. What they freaking do? You wear a heavy jacket, you put on a hat, you're fine. If he cared at all about them, he wouldn't do this to them, right? Everybody knows that people who are coming to the inauguration are coming in advance. They're not just showing up the day of. Some of these people are coming from thousands of miles away. They're getting hotel rooms. They're booking flights. They're taking vacation time. They're coming out there. And he does this at the last minute. I haven't seen them actually put two and two together and come to the obvious conclusion that Trump does not care about them at all. I mean, they're pissed, they're upset, but when are they going to realize that Trump doesn't give a damn about these people? And So it's going to be moved indoors, right? There'll be some people in there. They only got room in the rotunda for like a couple hundred people. Think any of these magats are going to get in there to see their cult leader take the oath of office? No. It'll be politicians and billionaires. That'll be about it. And whatever plans they have for indoor things afterwards, after the inauguration, where they're going to do some kind of rally or whatever, who's going to get all the good seats to that? The billionaires. If these cultists get in at all, they're just going to be in the nosebleeds. Trump doesn't give a damn about them. And this is how it's going to be for the next 4 years. And it's just going to be fun to watch these people get screwed over, to be pissed off about it, to be upset about it, and then to not draw the obvious conclusion that Trump doesn't give a shit about them. But that's what this administration is going to be. These people are no longer useful to Donald Trump, not nearly as much as they were so before. They're still useful because he can still use his cult to strike fear into people. And that's why people are afraid of Donald Trump. They're not afraid of Trump. They're afraid of his cult. They're afraid of, Republicans are afraid of Trump because he controls the base of the Republican Party and he could turn the party against them and ruin their careers. They're not so much you're not so much afraid of him, they're afraid of the cult. So he still sort of needs the cult as his own personal, intimidation mob, and he'll have them for that, but he doesn't have to pretend to really give a damn about them anymore, and he's not going to. His administration is going to be all for the billionaire oligarch class, not for the working man, certainly not for Trump supporters, and they are going to get screwed over time and time again. And so for Donald Trump to begin his presidency by screwing over in fantastic fashion his most ardent supporters. I mean, you got to be a full-on Trump cultist to like this guy who spent $5,000. These people who traveled thousands of miles, spent money on plane tickets, on hotel rooms, and how much is a hotel room in Washington, D.C. On inauguration weekend? I don't know, probably pretty damn expensive, I would imagine. You've got to be a real full-on Trump cultist to go through all of that crap just to see a guy give a stupid speech. And so it is they who are the ones, his most ardent supporters, who are the ones who are getting screwed the worst right at the beginning. And this is going to happen over and over again. And I freaking love it. I am here for that. I mean, it is going to be a very, very bad 4 years in a lot of ways. But I will very much enjoy seeing these people get screwed over.